My name is Elijah Carter, and I'm moving because they mounted two cellular antennas on the outside wall of my bedroom, and I started to get headaches, dizziness, and faint, and a ringing in my ears. I've lived here about 7 years, and I had a good life. I am a very healthy individual. I have been eating excellent and exercising. I walked 4 to 6 miles a day prior to this. Never had headaches in my life. No pre-existing conditions, no high blood pressure, nothing. The apartment I lived in here was really pretty special because I had a view out over our city. Really nice, just really great situation. And so I'm moving because they put these antennas in, and they started a lot of pain in my head. I woke up, first I started with little slight headaches in the front of my head, and I started noticing it, and I was going, wait a second. And then I was like, well, that could still be anything, right? And then I started noticing in the morning and before I'd go to sleep that my scalp was getting really tight. Like sometimes when you're like, stressed out or whatever, you feel like massaging your head a little bit. And so I was noticing I'd be rubbing my scalp and it wouldn't go away. And then one morning I woke up and I was sleeping on my left side, but all down my scalp, side of my face, neck, shoulder, arm was all tight and tingling, like a heightened sensation. And it was about 5:30 in the morning, and it persisted until about 11 o'clock. So I called my doctor, and the nurse practitioner told me I ought to go to ER right away. So I went to ER, and they said they hadn't had any experience with anything like this. So they did, the CAT scan, the blood test, the urine sample, and they monitored me for several hours. Eventually the headache started to go away. So I went back to my apartment. This was a Wednesday. The next day, I decided I couldn't sleep in my bedroom again that night. So I slept in the living room. And even though I slept as far as I could from the antennas, I woke up the next morning just deep in my temples and all across my head. It started to lessen up a little bit, and kind of went about my day. And then that evening I went out to get an electrosmog, the RF radiation meter, and when I went out, I went for a walk by the ocean, and my headache went away. As soon as I came back in my apartment, the headache started up. Actually, when I went into my bedroom, the headache got really bad. I got the electrosmog meter out. About 5 feet above where I sleep, I'm getting readings up to 761 MW over M squared. 761. And readings of megahertz up to 2000. About 4 feet, 3 feet above where I sleep. Over here on this side of the bed, consistently over 100, 200, consistently in the red. $350, $399, about 4 feet above where I sleep. And so I was just like, this is crazy. And it was late, so I felt like it was too late to call anybody. So I slept in the living room again, and then again woke up the next morning with just deep in both temples, band across the head. And when I got up and I went into the kitchen, I felt like I was in like underwater or something. I felt kind of like dizzy, kind of faint, and so I just knew I had to get out of there. It wasn't going away. I knew I had to get out of there. So I called a friend, asked him if I could go to stay at his place, and started getting things together and just getting myself out of there. When I drove out of here, I was in so much pain. The next day, I decided I couldn't sleep in my bedroom again that night. So I slept in the living room. And even though I slept as far as I could from the antennas, I woke up the next morning just deep in my temples and all across my head. The next morning I had work, so I got up and I just felt a little slight something, so I thought, okay, let me just take this. And then I was good, actually. I worked, and then I came back here to shower and grab some more things, and literally within a minute of walking into my bedroom, it was just like headache again. And so I just grabbed some things and got out, and that was the last time I was in this apartment, like over 4 weeks ago. The dizziness continued, the headache continued. I attempted to work through it about 40 minutes back on my computer that first morning. I got faint, so I had to stop. So I would like just do like little bits, like on the computer, off, on the computer, off. And I'm like the only one in my unit that my supervisor was on vacation, so I was the only one that really knew how to do what needed to be done. So I felt like I couldn't leave my post. I had to handle things. So it was a real push to just like work through the pain to like make sure that things got taken care of. So I kept thinking, like, okay, if I take these meds, like, maybe it'll go away. But it didn't go away. So even when I go to sleep at night, when I wake up in the morning, it's always there. There was no notification. I found out because I was, my work put me on teleworking from COVID. So I've been at home teleworking, and I found out because I was working, and they drilled 2 holes through the wall of my bedroom, and I was just like, what? So they drilled the 2 holes through the wall, and they almost destroyed. Like, I have first edition print. I have these traditional Navajo weavings, like unique. That's like heritage stuff, and like literally like 2 inches from my print. And so I went out and I was like, you know, I thought it was roofers or something, but then when I saw the holes, I was like, something's wrong. So I went out, I was like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we're mounting these antennas on your wall. And so I was talking with him, and I said, hey, well, because I had heard about like the 5G stuff, but didn't really pay attention to it that much. I'd heard about like some protests or something, and I think I'm a pretty informed person. I know about a lot of things that are happening, but I just kind of wrote the 5G thing off. Just kind of like, oh, they're just thinking too much about it or something. And I'd even, sometimes when I, be on my cell phone, feel a little something, but just not really think that much about it. Sometimes. And then, so they said that they're mounting these antennas. And so I went to the guy, and I talked to the guy, and I asked him, like, hey, can you guys do like a radiation reading, when you get them up and running? He's like, no, we can't do it, but you can contact T-Mobile and they'll send somebody out to do it. So I called T-Mobile twice and asked them if they would send somebody out to do it, and they were like, oh, we'll send this up the chain, but you're gonna have to write this address. The second time they gave me an address to write, and no response. And sometime after that I started getting the headaches, and that was how I found out about it. There was no notification. I did not receive any notification from management, from no public notice, nothing. Just drilling a hole through my wall. And when I talked to the guys, they said, oh, we thought the wall was much thicker. The plan showed the wall much thicker, and I guess we missed a stud or something. So yeah, it's a pretty paper thin wall that they drilled through. My plans now that I'm moving are to put all my stuff in storage and to find a healthy place to be and to heal. It's definitely being a learning experience. It seems like a lot of people don't know about this and like what the effects are and how to deal with it. What I'm asking basically everybody is, who are the people that are taking care of us? Those of us that have been injured. Who are the people who have treated workers that have been overexposed, treated people, and know what the best practices and the best treatments are? And for T-Mobile, for the management and the executives and the shareholders, you guys need to really look at your stuff. You guys really need to look at what you're doing to people. It's not right. If it had been a senior or somebody with a pre-existing condition, or like a baby in a cradle that all they could do was cry, and the parents don't know what's going on, they can't communicate, the baby's just crying and can't communicate what's going on with itself, and you're just melting its brain, it's unconscionable what you guys are doing. It's horrendous. There's nothing to describe what you guys are doing to people. It's not okay. It's like the American dream on the one hand, and yet it's like a nightmare on the other hand. It's incredibly devious or monstrosity because it's invisible. It's like you can't see it. It makes it even harder to for other people to relate to you, and for you to be like, I'm here in this nightmare, yet right here, you know, the tranquility continues. My message to people who were like me that didn't pay attention to this is wake up. You gotta pay attention to this, because this is real, and they're coming for you. Look at this and learn this and make sure that what they're doing is safe.